into the second part of word order. Okay, so how are we supposed to use this word order? You must be very careful with the word order. Just give me a second. Okay, so we just start with the word order. Okay, so when you write in English, so this is very important for us, the word order. Okay, when you start writing an article, you have to be very careful with the word order. Okay, let me just place it here. Okay. So when we just start with the first part, okay, so we just get into the first word order S1, okay. So we have strict word order in English, okay, so we have to follow that strictly. So I don't know whether you have heard about subject, verb, and object. Yes? Are you familiar with subject, verb, and object?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
a sentence will have, yes. So a sentence will have a subject and we will have a verb. Verb is nothing but the action words. Okay, whatever action that takes place will have the verb, and we will have an object. Object, it can be both direct object or indirect object. Okay, it can be a direct object or an indirect object. Okay, so that is what we have learned, isn't it? So this is the basic structure of English. So this is how the word order should be. So this is how we have learned, isn't it? So first will be the subject and next will be the verb and the object. So object can be direct or indirect. So now we can just see this sentence, this particular sentence that they have used for S1 is the researchers sent their manuscript to the journal. So here we can see the subject. The subject is the researchers and the verb is sent. And you can see both the direct object and the indirect object used in the same sentence. Okay. So the first object is the direct object. What did they send? They send the manuscript. So that is the direct object. Okay. So where did they send? To the journal. So that is the indirect object. Okay. So the direct object is the one which is just connected and which is just talking about the first object, and then the second is the indirect object, which is just talking about the secondary thing. Okay, then we have some more examples also there, S2 and S3. Now if you see that S2 is maybe they have just added some more to the sentence, but the sentence word order has not changed exactly. The same order is followed, but just they have just added when it took place. Okay, when it took place and how many times it took place. So this is what was just added to it. Okay, but the word order is not changing there. You can just see as to last week the researchers sent their manuscript to the journal for the second time. So this is how it is just ordered. Okay. Now come to the S3. S3. Can someone read the S3? I want someone to read the S3. Sentence 3. Can someone please read? Anne Maria, can you please read now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
The researchers last week sent for the second time to the journal their manuscript.
Hmm. Does it have any meaning there? Do you find any meaning there?
Not completely.
Yeah. So it's just confusing. We don't know whether the researcher is sent or the manuscript is sent. Okay. So we have a confusion because the researcher is just mentioned in the first parts. So what does it mean that researcher is sent to the journal? So researcher himself has just he has just met the people in the maybe in the office. we are not sure about the real. So if you change the word order, this is what will happen. It will become incorrect. Okay, we cannot understand the meaning at all. So it will just go wrong. So you must be very careful when you try to use the word order. Word order, you must be very careful. You should use subject, verb, direct object, and indirect verb. This is how it has to be arranged. Okay, and you come to the second point. You have to compare the word order in your language with the word order in English. Is there any change in your mother tongue, the word order in your mother tongue and the word order in English? Is there any difference? Is there any difference? Try using the same sentence in your own mother tongue. Okay. So maybe in Tamil we say ஆய்வாளர்கள் தங்களுடைய manuscripts, what do you call manuscripts? தங்களுடைய article and manuscript. Do we have Tamil people there? What do you call manuscripts? ஆய்வு கட்டுரை, maybe we can say ஆய்வு கட்டுரைகளை ஜர்னல் பத்திரிகைக்கு அனுப்பி வைத்தனர். Am I right? Tamil people, am I right? ஆய்வாளர்கள் தங்களுடைய ஆய்வு கட்டுரையை பத்திரிகைக்கு அனுப்பி வைத்தனர். Am I correct? No Tamil people in your class? So sad. Do we have Tamil people? Yeah. Am I right? Now tell me, what word order did I use? Can someone say it in Malayalam? Can someone say it in Malayalam? Elvis, can you please? I don't know. Elvis, are you there? Yesterday, few people said that you are from Malayali. You are a Malayali. Few people. So can you just say it in Malayalam? And one person can say it in Hindi. I can understand Hindi, no problem. So prepare yourself. Say it in your mother tongue, please. Yes. Yes, ma'am. What happened? No Malayalis here? Let me call you by name. Dinesh Gargi. Alina, yes, and Matthew, please.
In Malayalam, we will tell Kaiyeluthu Patraya.
No, you just translate the whole thing. Whole sentence. The researchers send their manuscript to the journal. Okay, we'll take a simple sentence. You are finding it very difficult. I understand. Let us take a very simple sentence. Okay? I'll just write it down. Raju plays football. Very simple sentence, ma. Raju plays football. Now say it in Malayalam.
Raju football കളിക്കുന്നു.
Okay. So where is the verb? So now in
Ma'am,
my
at last.
sentence, very good. In my sentence, the subject, verb, and object is placed in proper order. But when you say it in Malayalam, how does it come? Subject,
Subject, object and verb.
and then verb. Even in Tamil, Raju football விளையாடி கொண்டு இருக்கிறான். So there also we have the same format. SOB. How about in Hindi? Raju football खेल रहा है. Am I right? Elvis, am I right? Elvis is not there today. Okay, any other Hindi people?
Yes, ma'am, it's right, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, Elvis. So, yeah, in Hindi also we have the same problem. So what happens with the word order? It changes. So that's why we ask you people to think in English and write in English. If you think in Tamil, or if you think in Hindi, or if you think in Malayalam, this is your problem. This will be your problem. So your word order will change. Got it, ma'am? So you have to compare the word order in your language and with the word order in English. And you must be very cautious that you follow the word order in English. And don't ever be taken away by the word order of your own language. Okay? because your word order is different. Your word order is different. Okay. So don't confuse with your language, mother tongue. Okay. So you must be very careful when you do that. Here we have some other example. We are just keeping it. We go to the third part. Choose the most relevant subject and put it at the beginning of the sentence. So when you have an important subject to be discussed, and that is the main thing that you're going to talk about. Now, this take this sentence. It is about the researchers. Okay, it is about the researchers. So researchers are the main subject. So if they are the main subject, you have to put in the beginning of the sentence. If you have some other subjects which are not of that importance, then you can take it to the second part. Okay, so which is the first relevant subject that you have to bring it to the front. Okay, so you must give importance to the subjects. Whichever subject is of great importance to you, that has to be just given more importance. So you have some examples here. So these are sentences from a paper written by a physicist in physics journal. Okay, they all contain exactly the same information, but you have different subjects given importance. It's okay, Liz, it's okay. You just chat with me in chat box, no problem for me. Like I can see, though I'm in my mobile phone, I can see. Okay, don't worry. Okay. So see these sentences. So you can scroll little down, ma. Yeah, come. No, where is it? No, 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 no. Ah, yeah, you have to come down. Little bit. Come down. Come down, ma. Yeah, come down. Yeah, 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 yeah. Stop there. Stop there. Stop there. Stop there. Stop there. Okay. So here you can just see those sentences. Okay, S1, S2, S3, and S4. Now, this physicist has written the same sentence, of course, but see, he has just used the different subjects. Okay, you can see. So, particularly interesting for researchers in physics is the new feature named X for calculating velocity. Now, this is the matter. Okay, this is the content. Now, physics now has a new feature named X for calculating velocity. Next, velocity can now be calculated with a new feature named X, which is particularly interesting for physicists. X is a new feature for calculating velocity. It's particularly interesting for physicists. Is there any mistake in any of the sentence? Can you find any mistake in any of the sentence? Any grammatical error, or maybe you feel like this sentence is not good? Is there any problem? Hello, people? What happened? Obviously, no problem there in the sentences. But what is changing is the subject. Okay? In the first sentence, who is given much importance, ma? First sentence, it is italicized. You can just say, looking into it.
Researchers.
Researchers are given importance. Very good. The second sentence,
Physics.
physics is given importance. Very good. The third sentence,
Velocity.
Velocity.
velocity is given importance. And fourth sentence,
X.
New feature.
X is
New
given.
feature. X.
So if you are writing an article, if you are giving much importance to this X, okay, X is something, okay, X. So if you are going to give much importance to that X, and if you want to just highlight this X, and this is the relevant subject, then you will be using only sentence 4. Okay, though all the sentences are right, but you have to just give importance to your subject. Okay, the relevant subject you feel like giving importance to, right? Okay, so that is what is discussed here. Okay, we can come to 2.4. Choose the subject that leads to the most concise sentence. Okay, so if your sentence is short, and if you have two possible subjects, okay, which you could indifferently put at the beginning of the sentence, then choose the subject that will give the shortest sentence. So we have two sentences here, S1 and S2. The most significant values are highlighted in table 1. Table 1 highlights the most significant values. Okay. So which is shorter? Which is shorter? S1 or S2?
Yes, two, ma'am.
S2 is shorter. Okay. So if you just find there is a difference between both the sentences. In the beginning, I just told you not to use something, and that is there. Can you find the difference between S1 and S2? I don't know whether you people remember that. I think in the first class, but this is our fourth class, I think. But three class we have just crossed. Can you please remember anything that I said?
Past tense.
Just come.
Passive voice.
Past
Yes,
tense.
passive voice because it is there. I think you have just read. Okay, so it's about the passive voice. Okay, if you just find the sentence lengthier, then you can find that you have used passive voice. Okay, so instead of just using the passive, can you find that passive voice for finding out whether it is active or passive? I gave you a clue. Do you remember the clue? Do you remember the clue that I gave? I said something. If you have that, then it is passive. So it's easy for you to identify. Okay. So you maybe it was a first class. Maybe you were not that active. It's okay. So to identify, it's very easy. You will be having two verbs there. One supporting verb will be there. Okay. So two verbs. One will be your supporting verb. So with that, you can just identify that it is a passive voice. Can you identify now? Can you identify? Which is the verb there?
Highlighted.
Very good. Highlighted is a verb. And which is the supporting verb?
Are.
Very good. Are. Very good. So now this is how you identify that it is a passive. So it is also lengthy. See, it is lengthy. So shorter sentences we can easily obtain if we use active voice. So that is very simple and easy to use. So when you use active voice, you know your subject will come in the first place. Okay, and you start with your subject, then you will get it in active voice and it will be shorter also. So it's easy for you to write your sentences and frame your sentences. Got it? So this is how you frame your sentences. So if you go through your project and if you find some passive voice there, if you want to change it, bring your subject and start your sentence as using your subject as the lead. Okay, short. No, you start your sentences with the subject that you would like to lead. Then you will get it in active voice. It's very easy for you to do it. Okay. Yes. um, Next, 2.5, don't make the impersonal it the subject of the sentence. So sometimes, you will be using it to mention, if you would like to, if you have just said it earlier and if you want to just repeat the same subject, you may not repeat, but what you will do is, it is possible that this is due to poor performance. It is possible uh, do this with the new system. So this is no, it is usual. This happens, isn't it? So instead of it, they are asking us to use modal words like might, need, should. Okay, wherever possible, they are just asking us to use the modal verbs, which is might, need, and should, may, all these things. Okay, so you just see the revised version of it. So the same sentence, it is probable that this is due to poor performance, can be rewritten as this may, or you can use might, or you can use could be due to poor performance. So this looks bit standardized, isn't it? So instead of the sentence, it is probable. Instead of this, it is good that you use this may be due to poor performance. So this is straight. This sentence is also straight. Okay. So this is how you can just change. See the second sentence. It is possible to do this with the new system. This can be done with the new system. Okay. And then it is mandatory to use the new version. You can just change it as the new version must be used. 12 ஆமாம் மேம் லீவ் இன்னைக்கு கேட்கவே இல்லை நீங்கள் ஃபோன் பண்ணி கேட்குறாங்க ஆமாம் பெஸ்ட் ஓகே ஸோ Sorry for that. There's one of the scholar. Right. So you got it? So this is how, if you have an original version with this, it can just very well change it to this. So you just go through your project, at least the para, and if you find something you have just mentioned as it is probable or it is possible, it is mandatory, then you can just change it to this, and you read it and see, you will feel that it is very good. No, okay? Yes. Next, all these don'ts, you must be very careful. Do's are very easy, but don'ts are very difficult, isn't it? So don't use a pronoun it, they before you introduce the noun. So before even introducing the noun, just don't start using it and they. When you use it, when you've already used something and if you want to just say it again, then you use it, isn't it? So instead, before that, if you're just going to use that, then the people will not be able to understand. Okay. It's okay to use a pronoun at the beginning of the sentence, provided that this pronoun refers back to a noun in a previous sentence. So the noun should be mentioned earlier. Okay. For example, beeswax is a very important substance because something, you are just giving something there. In fact, it is. So with this it denotes the beeswax again. Okay. So you need not repeat. In fact, beeswax is. So instead, you can just use it. Pronouns can be used, but first the noun should be used and then the pronoun should be used. Okay. So I think this you would have done. You wouldn't have committed mistake here because it is very basic and very simple, isn't it? So you'll be just doing it. So no problem there. So an example is just given there, S2 and S3. Before even using the noun, if you have used it, then what will happen to your sentence? So this is how it will be. Although it is a very stable, sorry, and chemically inert material, studies have verified that the composition of beeswax is. See your sentence. This is not a proper way of using it. So instead, you have to use although beeswax is very stable and chemically inert material. Studies have verified that its composition is easily perfect. So this is the correction that you have to make. So even before using the noun, you shouldn't use it or they. So in the word order, subject should come first. Always subject should come first. So you have to put the subject before the verb. Don't forget that. Okay. So see, some examples are given there. See the original version. In the survey, participated 350 subjects. So what is the subject actually here? In the survey, participated 350 subjects. Now identify the verb. Which is the verb here?
Participated.
Participated is the verb. Very good. So which is the subject, man? What the subjects?
350 subjects.
350 number. So 350 subjects or 350 members. That is the subject. Okay. So always the subject should come before the verb. So 350 subjects participated in the survey. Very simple. 350 subjects participated in the survey. So that is how it should look like. Then, where used several different methods in the experiments. It looks so funny, isn't it? If you are not using it properly, if the word order is not used properly, then how does it look like? It's too funny to just read it, isn't it? But unknowingly, sometimes what happens is we also commit such mistakes when we write. When we write, we just think about what action we are going to do, and immediately we think about the verb and we start writing or we start with the verb, and there comes the problem. Okay, so this is something which just so after you think about your action and you think about the subject, then we just keep this word order in mind and bring the subject first and then the verb. Okay, so that is how you rearrange it. You be very careful. Okay, Just see how funny it is. Where used several different methods in the experiments. Each and every word is just standing out, isn't it? Nothing is related to the other. So what you have to do is you have to identify the subject. Of course, all the subjects are italicized. So you have to identify the subject and you have to bring it before the verb. Okay. So this is the subject, several different methods, and here is the verb where used in the experiments. Got it? Okay. And we have seen that passive voice can be used in certain places if it is unavoidable. Okay, so keep it in mind that. Also, right. Then, with these values are associated a series of measurements. See how it's not complete at all, isn't it? We don't get anything from there. So now you rearrange it. A series of measurements are associated with these values. Got it? Yes. So this is the problem. So before even saying something, we just think about the action. So we start with the verb. So that is the problem of us. Okay. Sometimes it is delayed. The subject is delayed. So this is yet another problem. So they have used. See, some of the authors have made this mistake. They have used an introductory subsidiary clause to stress the importance or evidence of the subject before telling the reader what the subject something is. Okay, before even talking about the subject, what they do is they say something, so some helping phrases they use or clauses they use to just say about the subject, but not directly about the subject. Even before telling about the subject, they use that. Okay, so this is not done in English. So this should not be used in English. So now, when you see the example, you will understand. Among the factors that influence the choice of parameters are time and cost. So this is the clause. Clause is like you have half of your sentence which has meaning. Okay, and now you just see this whole part of this sentence. If you just see this part, the first part is just talking about this time and cost only, but it is just saying something, some idea about this time and cost. So this is how some authors they tend to write. I don't know, maybe most of your science papers will have sentences like this, isn't it? But in English, this has to be avoided. So what can we do? Again, the subject should come to the front, okay, and then followed by the verb, and then you have to give the subsidiary clause. Okay. So time and cost are among the factors that influence the choice of parameters. So this is the right way of using it. Okay. Of particular interest was the sugar transporter because of particular interest there is some interest. Okay, yes, of particular interest. What is that? So the sugar transporter was of particular interest. He had some interest. What type of interest? That is just explained later. So important parameters are conciseness and non-ambiguity. So again, conciseness and non-ambiguity are important parameters. Got it? So the subject should be used properly and it should be in the first place followed by the verb. Okay. Okay. Just go through these examples. I'll be back within 2-3 seconds. So you can scroll a little lower so that they can read the other sentence at the top also. Okay. Go to the next one. Keep the subject and verb as close as possible to each other. Okay. Can someone read this sentence here? Can you read, huh? S1. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, please someone read S1.
A gradual decline in germinability and vigor of the resultant seedling, a high sensitivity to stress upon germination, and possibly a loss of ability to germinate are recorded in literatures
Yes.
519.
Okay. So your verb, it has just come here, are recorded. Okay. So now you come to the next sentence. S2. The same person can read.
People with a high rate of intelligence and unusual ability to resolve problems, a passion for computers, along with good communicational skills, are generally employed by such companies.
Okay. So this is also, you can just see the verb is very far from the subject. Okay. So now if we just come to S3 and S4, we have better solutions for these the sentence that we had earlier. Okay. So this is how it is just given. There is generally a gradual decline. So you can see that this verb is just coming to the front along with the subject. Okay. So if it is little closer to the subject, then it will be more clear. So that is what we say. Because or else you have to just wait for the action till the end. You don't know what they are really trying to say. So the sentence is very lengthy also. So what happens is you have to wait till the end. So instead you can just bring the subject and verb closer so that it will be more meaningful. Okay. So you can just read this now. There is generally a gradual decline in germinability and of the resultant seedling, followed by a higher sensitivity to stress upon germination and possibly a loss of the ability to germinate. So now how is this sentence compared to this one, S1? Okay, so this looks more standard, isn't it? So compared to S1, S3 is more standard. Now if we just see the next one, such companies generally employ. So that is how we start. Or generally employed, again it is passive. So if you just say such companies generally employ, then that becomes active. Okay. So here again S3 and S4 is totally it is just converted to active so that the verb comes closer to the subject. Okay. Or else if you just use passive voice, then you can see that the verb is just going away from it. Okay. So this you have to be very careful with. So I think we can stop here instead of just getting into the next one. So see, these are some of the basic things that we have seen today. Okay, so you have to stick to the word order. So word order is nothing but subject, verb, and object. So whenever you use the subject, verb, and object, you must be very careful that you don't change the word order. Okay, you must be very conscious in using the word order, and you must keep it. No, you must keep it very close. Subject and verb should be close. So that is what we have seen today. And we have seen some examples where they are not using it properly. Okay, that also is there. Okay, so today I just want the representatives to send me the absentee's name because I am there in the mobile. I will not be able to access your Google attendance. So can you please send the absentees names to my WhatsApp, personal WhatsApp. Please send it, okay? Is there any doubt so far now? Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
So shall we just wind up? Yes, ma'am?
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank
Thank you,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.